Trade Genius.
What's up, guys? Philip at Trade Genius. All right, we're going to take a look at Litecoin. Interesting price action. We haven't covered it in a while, but I think now with the change in the market structure and the way this thing has been setting up, I think it's time to take a look at Litecoin currently. So I'm going to talk about what's happened recently and then price levels that we need to take a look at. So if we look over at the chart here, guys, what we've seen is Litecoin came down and kind of bottomed out. Now, if you guys have been wanting to get into Litecoin, we're going to take a look at a couple different metrics. We'll look at Litecoin versus the dollar and Litecoin versus Bitcoin. Litecoin versus Bitcoin, if you've been following our videos, you know that it's been in the cheap end of the range that we highlight. We'll take a look at that in a second. So, but right now, coming off a nice, what we call an inverted head and shoulders. Some of you know what that is, some of you don't. So if you don't, basically that's like where you have a formation where you have head and shoulders in the price action on these candles. So this area here is the left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder. When they're inverted, meaning it's upside down, that means that's like a bottom formation, and vice versa. If this is flipped right side up, that's a topping formation. So that's what we were in, and this actually did the measured move. The measured move is the size of the range from the neck. So the neck is where the shoulders are. You draw a line there. The first breakout was here, came back, tested and hugged that neckline, and then broke higher. So that's really bullish because now we have a series of higher highs, and that's what you're looking for, and higher lows. So as far as the measured move goes, you measure from the head to the shoulders, and that took us up to this level here at about $46.38, and that's about where we peaked out at. Notice too, this is a daily chart. We're heading right into the daily 200-day moving average, which is really powerful. A lot of traders are look to that. And the simple metric on that is it gets respected. And if you're above it, that's bullish. If you're below it, that's bearish. You're in a bear market. So it's, as far as Litecoin goes, and as far as a 200-day moving average, it's doing a lot better than Bitcoin. What's interesting on this Litecoin move is it actually led the Bitcoin move up. Okay, so it wasn't usually Bitcoin's pulling the market with it, right? Litecoin actually started this move sooner. This is a comparative chart. This is the Bitcoin price in candles. This red line is the Litecoin price, and you'll notice that the Litecoin price started in percentage terms now. So we start off the same percentage terms. It started to move up sooner, and then really started to make a move up, and then Bitcoin actually started to catch up at that point. So now they're kind of formations kind of the same, but interesting that it led it this time. And now if you're thinking about like, well, why is this popped? I think it's a combination of mostly technical reasons, right? The price action actually shaped up. It did not roll over. And then what happens is you get a lot of people that are short on leveraged exchanges, and then you get a short squeeze because what happens is people come in and buy, forces those people in short positions to have to cover their positions, because if they're betting on it going down and it goes against them and they're leveraged, they have to close out their position or get their account liquidated or position liquidated. So that can create a lot of buying because they're buying back their position and squeeze up to the next level of resistance. So it makes sense that price stops here, guys, because you've got the 200-day moving average. You also have this area of where price was being held at support, and then it broke through. So now this support becomes resistance, okay? So if we draw a horizontal line here, support becomes resistance. So it may try to attack this level again, but largely what I think is going to happen here, guys, is we're going to see price roll over to two different levels that I'm eyeballing at this point, because market structure has changed. So now you're looking to buy pullback. So the first area obviously would be where we had this previous support and resistance. Here was support, then turned to resistance here, and now has broken through. So you're going to see some buyers come in around the $40 level. If that cannot sustain a bounce, you're really going to have a lot of support down at this $34 to $35 area. Okay, so those are your two spots that you'd look to start getting into a position on Litecoin. As far as where this whole market is going on this move up, I think really ultimately does go back to Bitcoin though. Bitcoin, as you know, has a lot of upside resistance. So Bitcoin's going to have resistance at 4,000. It's also going to have a big trend line that it needs to break through. Litecoin market structure looks a lot better than Bitcoin's though. Litecoin has had some bullish news recently as far as confidential transactions and more payment processor acceptance. So it is doing its thing in its niche. regardless if you think it's redundant to Bitcoin or not. They do facilitate a lot of new features on Litecoin, kind of like a test bed. Whether a test bed warrants, the valuation that it's at, that's up to the market to decide. We just look at the price levels and look at where logical entries are. Litecoin is going into its halvening. That's always been bullish for Litecoin. The Litecoin story isn't over by any stretch, and then Bitcoin is going to be going into its halvening too at a later date. So things shaping up wise, the halvening events are very powerful. That's no exception for Litecoin. So, again, these are the times you want to be getting positioned into these things. Now, in the room, we actually had gotten into these levels here at, we recommended around $28 level to get into that. I already have taken some profits on those. Some are holding for higher, but if you're swing trading, this actually isn't a bad spot to take some profits and then look for pullbacks lower on Litecoin as far as Litecoin dollar is concerned. Now, Litecoin BTC, we can take a look at that. So this is the channel that we discussed. So this line above here is the top of the channel is basically your expensive range historically for Litecoin, and the bottom of it is your cheap range for Litecoin. And this is relative to Bitcoin. So this is LTC BTC. And so we've been kind of bouncing along the low end of the range here. Again, great opportunities to buy or add to your position, and now we've moved up. And what's interesting about this zone here is you'll notice on the volume profile here, we're entering into an area that hasn't seen a lot of price action. There's a lot of accumulation off of this 08 area, and so now we're moving up quickly through this zone, which doesn't really surprise. So getting to the top of this range at 0.016 seems doable at this point. Again, you kind of want to wait and buy some pullbacks here. So the pullback levels, you're looking for areas where there was resistance and then it broke out. So a great level, would be like this 0.00995 level. But a lot of times what happens is if it's a really strong, you may not see those levels come back down. So another level that looks interesting is this 0.0105 area. That looks pretty interesting on the daily chart. But keep in mind, guys, when it comes to Litecoin versus Bitcoin, the moves can be very sharp and not provide a lot of pullbacks. As you noted back in December of 2017, there was precious little time and the moves were extremely sharp. So what's historically been the case is when we get a move up to this overbought area of the channel, always good to take profits there. The pullbacks have been pretty sharp. And when you get up to that level, then we start looking at, okay, what are the levels after a big blow off move like that to the oversold or overbought section of this? Where are logical levels to pull back? So if we see this type of move that we saw back in December of 2017, this big pop to overbought, we'll look for a pullback because that's still going to provide another opportunity for a decent move higher in all likelihood. All right. So very bullish on LTC BTC. I think percentage wise actually has more potential than LTC USD at this point in time. All right. So things are looking good, guys. If you've been in the LTC USD trade, not a bad spot to take profits. Look for a pullback. If you are holding longer term, then I think there's more upside coming. Again, Bitcoin would probably have to follow through on a next wave up and not see consolidation at this point and then BART back down unless Litecoin decides to decouple. We haven't quite seen that yet. However, the fact that Litecoin moved up first ahead of Bitcoin might be a little bit of a clue that that is indeed a possibility. So we'll see what happens, but we'll keep tabs on this now that things are starting to move on Litecoin. We'll, as this progresses, we'll do another update video. All right, guys, that's it for this video. If you guys are interested in getting in the room, we're extending that special one key code. Again, if you were with us, you'd be in Litecoin up from the $28 level, and we've hit the $48 level. So nice percentage gain on that move. If you want to join us and get in on those types of signals, head over to tradelikeagenius.com. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Bye.
Trade Genius.